Okay, I'm sorry. It's been way too long. I hope you had a great 6 months, but I'm back. It's nice to see you. You look great. I'm TK Galoni, and welcome back to my channel. We had a little bit of an unexpected hiatus there. I'm okay. Sorry if you thought I ghosted you. I just didn't know how to answer my own question of what my essential intent in life is, and it took me on a little bit of a journey. So thank you for your patience. I'm trying to say thank you more than I'm sorry. I hear it's way healthier. Before we get into how I discovered what I do want to talk to you about today, and that is my driving force at the moment, I want to tell you a little bit about what's been going on in the past 6 months. So I obviously had a little self-discovery journey in figuring out how to answer that question that you tuned in for. But I also went on my delayed honeymoon / 1 year anniversary trip to Japan with my husband, who I can't believe you haven't met yet. We spent 10 beautiful leisurely days exploring everything between Tokyo and Osaka and then back. Everything's a stretch. We were only there for 10 days, but I had so much energy on so little sleep. It was annoying. And I woke up every morning around like 6. Some of that was part of jet lag, but most of it was just pure excitement. I wanted to consume everything that I could in the short time we were there. And then we came back and I went back to work and got back in the swing of things. I took a temp position this fall at a new company. Well, it's not a new company, but a company called Guide Spark, and I was working like a 9 to 6-ish there and got right back into like the swing of things with a full-time job. I kind of forgot about that like joy that I had woken up with until about 2 weeks ago. I sat down and did kind of just like a creative outlet project, tried to take a self-portrait. Here's the final product, it's whatever. So what inspired this portrait was I was journaling about my defining character trait, and that is usefulness. I have like an innate need to be useful to you and the planet and contribute in ways that are both ethical and fair, but also productive. And sometimes it's really difficult to define exactly what that means and how I want to go about it. So that day I just decided I was going to journal and do a self-portrait about it, and that inspired me to finally figure out what my driving force is, and that is like to have as many days like I did in Japan where I just wake up ready to frickin' go, totally enthused on whatever happens, because we didn't really have a lot of an agenda, not a lot of itinerary. It was just wandering, and I want more of that in my day-to-day. I think that will benefit my overall well-being greatly, and I know a lot of that is gonna have to go back to figuring out like a better sleep schedule and a morning routine, and I don't have either of those things, but those are things I can actively work towards and make steps to get better at. So thank you for your patience. And so we are full on into winter, and there's only 3 Mondays left in this decade, babe. So I wanted to talk to you before 2020 and let you know that 1, I am alive, 2, I am so grateful for your patience, and 3, I still want to share that trick with Maslow's hierarchy of needs for personalization reasons with you, just in case it could be helpful. So in 1943, a dude named Abraham Maslow published an article titled A Theory of Human Motivation. And he was an American psychologist who said healthy human beings have a certain number of needs, and those needs are arranged in a hierarchy, with some needs such as physiological and safety needs being more primitive and basic, and then there are tiers to which you can reach like self-fulfillment. So base level, try not to use my hands as much. Okay, base level, like the first thing you need to reach self-actualization is have your physiological needs met. Are you receiving like the proper oxygen supply? Do you have food to eat? clean drinking water, somewhere to rest. And then next we have like safety. That is where like your shelter comes in. Do you have a stability? Ability to have like a regular schedule, lack of fear of violence, that type of safety. All right, so the next step on the pyramid is belongingness and love, or social needs. And some examples of that would be belongingness, obviously. Inclusion, are you part of a community? Do you feel accepted in the way that you are putting yourself out into the world? So once you have like your basic human needs met, sleep, water, air, and place to live, and you feel safe, and then you're part of a community, the next part is like you accepting yourself, and that's the esteem stage. Some examples of esteem are self-esteem, obviously, status, recognition. Are you not only part of that community, but like a pillar of that community? Are you going to be missed if you're not there, type thing? And does the effort that you put into it get recognized? So the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, and that is achieving one's full potential, including creative activities, which here we are. I think something that is often overlooked in our society is all of this privilege and convenience that we have living in 2019, soon to be 2020, in a first world country. Me especially, as like a cis white lady, I don't have to worry as much about my physiological safety or belongingness needs. I'm pretty well accepted just the way I am. Not pretty, like I'm very well accepted without having to change anything about myself, worrying about my physical safety in most scenarios. Actually, I take that back. Women do got it rough out here. But I choose to live in a place without fear, because if somebody chooses to harm me, that is totally on them, and I am not going to waste any of my energy worrying about it before I have to, which is a totally another topic. Sorry for that sidebar. For the most part, I'm going to have available drinking water. I am very fortunate to not worry about where I sleep at night. Aside from being like a woman, I am very safe, and I am well accepted by my community without me worrying about whether or not they're going to accept me. So, I've worked with my therapist a lot on figuring out that layer of esteem, and my self-esteem has come leaps and bounds in the past year, but I still haven't got to fulfillment in the self-actualization tip. However, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's how we all grow. If we had like fully self-actualized, then I don't know, what is that, enlightenment? Like, that's boring. So the base of my self-actualization is mindfulness and consistent sleep. And I know sleep is like physiological as the base layer. It could be worked on. I have the luxury of having time to sleep. The sleep itself just isn't awesome. So working on that, and I think part of that is like better mindfulness. Next up after mindfulness and sleep is eating habits and exercise. And I go through straight up waves on this. I'll be really awesome and then start eating Cheetos for lunch, and next thing I know I'm having candy bars for dinner, and I haven't done yoga in a month. It's a steep decline when it happens. So right now I am coming out of a valley, back on my way up, trying to cut out cheese from my diet once a week, eating more plant-based proteins instead of just like tofurkey, which is, man, so good, but not a well-balanced diet. And then trying to move my body, get my blood flowing. I don't love exercise. I don't relate to people who do, but hard to ignore the benefits with your mental health. So once we have a mindfulness practice, we're eating right, we're working out, or moving our butt, I have an innate need for strong relationships. I'm somebody who's really blessed to have a ton of strong friendships. I pride myself on being a good friend, and I'm very lucky to have encountered a lot of wonderful humans who want to be my friend, and that's great, except that relationship takes effort. So once I have like my base levels taken care of, it's important that I make time in my day to nurture those relationships, whether it be with my husband or a friend or family. Every day I want to put some effort into one of those things. And then I'm also pretty ambitious, despite my actions in the last year. I have a specific career trajectory in mind, and to be fulfilled as a human, I need to work towards that every day. And then I gotta make stuff, right? Whether it's a YouTube video or a self-portrait or like an apron, whatever it is. So I didn't explain this great at the beginning, but how I developed this customized pyramid was to think of what my perfect day looks like and then reverse engineering it, figuring out how I can create more of the good stuff with less barriers in between. And it's just so obvious, but really it did take me up until like 2 weeks ago to figure out, oh, I want more of that feeling I had in Japan. I want less worry, more play, more connection with my husband and our community and just the outside world in general. The recommendation my therapist gave me was to like look at my pyramid and maybe during like a weekly or monthly reflection, see how balanced it is. If there is something I need to be like giving more time to, if I'm like getting really wrapped up in work and like career focused, maybe I need to like pull it back a little bit and make sure that foundation below it of my relationships is being nurtured and cared for as well. So I thought this would be a good conversation for any end of year reflections that you may or may not be doing. I know I have one planned. I feel like I've reconnected with the things that are important to me. I'm putting a bigger focus on those. Guys, I'm just going to try to keep my eyes on my own paper and not worry about what you're doing or what he's doing. And just focus on what I can do to stay at that tip top of my own pyramid and let whatever happens. And that's all we can do, right? And try to like stay grateful for the moment and my health and those wonderful people in my life that I mentioned in my relationships category, especially around the holidays. It's really easy to like get wrapped up in expectations and forget the real reason why we all want to connect with each other. And I think it's really special that we have that opportunity. So I want to thank you again for your time. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked this and subscribe if you're into staying with me on this messy journey that I mentioned where I try to live my life more intentionally. Okay, so let me know in the comments below if you yourself have a driving force or if you read Essentialism and know what your personal and essential intent is, or like if you even like the book. And let me know if you did or didn't. Otherwise, I just want to hear about like what you're thinking about. What can you not get out of your head? I'd love to talk to you about it. Thank you so much. I will see you next Monday. Have a great week.